What's up, geeks and freaks? Celine here with a look at the Netflix production of Death Note. Now, right off the bat, we know that an anime to movie adaptation rarely ever works. I mean, we've seen it all, right? Let me know down in the comment section if there's anything that you think that's good. Also, for those of you who haven't watched it, trust me, there aren't any real spoilers.
I know you want to. Go on. Help her.
I don't have a pen.
Moved to Seattle, the story is pretty predictable as it is stuffed into the played out box of being set in high school. Yes, the manga starts in high school, but it doesn't stay there. The theme of high school doesn't stand as the foundation of the source material, just as a setting. When the Death Note falls from the sky, Light becomes the new keeper. It sticks to the overall plot, but is void of any character development, even in the smallest sense. The movie is constantly contradicting itself. It starts off with things you can't or shouldn't do with the Death Note, just for it to be done 20 minutes later. Things that should not be possible with the Death Note are magically able to be committed a few minutes later, only because it needs to push the plot forward. These deaths are also really stupid, to say the least. Just to fill the edge component of this movie, a lot of fake blood is thrown around for things that doesn't really need it. I mean, really? There's been plenty of controversy in Hollywood, the land of bright lights, for whitewashing. I mean, how do we go from this to this? The director, Adam Wingard, said that the source material needed to be brought to life. The manga that has an anime, musical productions, a TV drama, 5 movies, not to mention light novels, video games, and an audio drama. Yes, we needed this to bring it to life. The worst part is that they try to use Japanese specific connotations as a clever advert to the police. In the manga and the anime, Light is an intellectual badass whose mind rivals that of L, the best detective known to secret organizations around the world. In the movie, he's played by Nat Wolff, everyone's favorite naked brother, an angsty teen who sells homework. Now, I know it's supposed to set up that he doesn't have the best moral compass, but cheating and selling homework doesn't make him cool. Instead, it makes him look weak and less like a protagonist, never mind being an anti-hero. His intelligence is constantly mentioned throughout the movie so that we can remember he's supposed to be smart, but he never actually shows how intelligent he is. It's like that little dirtbag kid that everyone thinks is really an angel, that you just need to be patient with them, but they're really just a prick. All the moves that Light makes throughout the anime are cold, calculated, and swift. He looks at the outcomes possible before making his move and has no regrets about what he's done. However, in this adaptation, he is nothing more than a lovesick boy who would lose a game of chess to a fetus. Every single death in the first half of the movie happens because somebody else told Light to do it. And his love interest is none other than Mia. Our lovable, brainless goth Lolita punk is now Mia, played by Margaret Qualley. Mia is an anti-cheerleader that smokes for a total of 2 minutes before Netflix realizes that advertising a 16-year-old smoking isn't hip. Rather than being introduced as second Kira, she might as well be the actual brains of the operation. This just goes to prove that Light isn't capable of completing a single task on his own. This movie is also dedicated to make the relationship with the Death Note a lot more complicated than it is. Normally, any person who touches the book can see the Shishigami, but apparently that's not the case. When Light tries to reveal the truth of the Death Note to Mia, Ryuk, our shaved testicle with glowing eyes, explains that it can only be seen by the keeper of the book, which Light gives up rather easily, I might add. Originally, Light is very skeptical of the people in his life once he has the note, but then again, we just need to prove that teenage boys fall in love with all the cat that they see. Ryuk is physically portrayed by Jason Liles, but is voiced over by everyone's favorite Green Goblin, William Dafoe. And most of the time, Dafoe just spends his time laughing like Dastardly Dog. Soshiro Yagami becomes James Turner, played by Shea Wigham, and retains most of his characteristics of being a good cop with a strong moral compass, but now he's a hapless parent since the death of his wife. Throughout the manga and the original anime, he's an endearing man who cares deeply for his family and his friends, and has an amazing relationship with his son. He goes through his own plot to prove his belief in his son's innocence once Light becomes suspected by L. He even allows himself to be arrested to prove that the deaths aren't based off of the conversations that they have at home. This is all cut to small outbursts that get waved off and ignored throughout the movie. Watari, played by Paul Nakayushi, is literally a watered down version of himself. He does nothing but stand there. Changed from the technical support of the team, he becomes nothing but a plot filler in Light's searches for L's real name. His death in the movie shouldn't have even been possible. The rule states that a person can only be killed by the death note when the name and the face in the user's mind match. By all the technicalities that might try to be followed, Watari should not have even been under the control of the death note, much less even killed because it's not his real name. To be honest, L is probably the only dimly lit star in this movie. This L matches the manga's own in a lot of ways. He's weird, antisocial, and a diabetic. The main thing that's out of character is that he is really, really angry. Every little thing sets him off, compared to his more tempered manga perspective. Even in the end, we're led to think that L kills Light with the note page that he finds in Light's room. Still, Lakeith Seinfeld is really nicely cast into this role. That's because he's a really weird dude.
You're the guy. You're L.
Yeah, well, that's not my real name, but I'm sure you're painfully aware of that.
Overall, this is the best adaptation of the Death Note manga I've ever seen. Full 5 out of 5. I'm kidding. This is the worst thing I've ever seen adapted. And I liked the last Airbender movie. Kidding. In all honesty, I'm giving this one a 1 out of 5. Yeah, America, y'all need to get your stuff together.